Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to start our video notes that you'll do at home. Of course, I'll give you more details on that, but the first thing I want to try is just running through it with you in class here, so we'll give it a shot. Our next section here, as we stay with animals and life in general, is called animal behavior. First thing we'll talk about is this so what section. This is just a way we we want to relate it to something you understand, something you know, something you came across already. Our big topic in this section will be between the innate, you see here at the top, and the learned behaviors. Now, it gives away a little bit about what the two words mean. You understand to learn something already. It means to be taught. Innate is kind of like instinct. So when you hear that word innate, think instinct. But anyway, when we study these in animals, we don't realize it all the time, but as it says here, we experience these same behaviors. We don't really take time to talk about them though. But I'm going to pause the video here and talk about some things you've experienced or learned, innate learned behaviors, and since you've been doing it since you've taken your first breath. So we'll pause it here and get some examples. Now, talking about the examples, we see what does learned mean, what does innate mean, and then how do these actually affect us. We'll see them in animals as we go through this, but to understand this is something that we do all the time. All right, so let's see what we recognize here. Okay, as far as power learning is concerned, you know about migration and hibernation. You understand a little bit about it. Migration, to move on. Animals do it all the time. You see birds fly south in the winter. Bears hibernate in the winter also. But there's also some seasonal behaviors called estivation, and we'll talk about it in this section. But jobs that include this type of activity and research, ecologists, zoologists, biologists, they all study this type of thing in animals and in plants. Now, this is a picture. We'll take a minute to let you talk about what you think this picture is. You see the butterfly down there. You can let me know what you think it's doing. All right, the butterfly, it's a monarch butterfly, and it's migrating from Mexico up to Canada. All right, and then in the wintertime, it'll go back down to Mexico, and it does this in search of food and shelter and water and things and protections that it's not going to have in the wintertime in Canada. So there's a reason these things move. We need to understand what's instinct, what's built into them, and what has to be taught. Now, our objectives this week, I'll pause here and let you all kind of recite them with me. There's only 3 this week, so we really need to focus this in the next 4 or 5 days. All right, first one we're going to talk about is explain the difference between learned and innate behavior. Now, we've talked about already. You probably have a good idea. Let's see what we can put down in our notes. Okay, for innate behavior, we're going to put this down. Behavior that does not depend on learning or experience. Okay, basically, it's inherited through genes. Okay, when you're born, it's passed down from your parents to you automatically. All right, so let's get some more examples of these. 3 or 4 examples from different people on what's passed down from you to your parents. You don't have to be taught. You just know how to do it when you're born. All right, innate is followed by learned behavior, and again, it should be pretty easy to understand. When these innate behaviors can be modified, and we know what modified means, right? When we modify something, we do what to it? Okay, we should be able to change it. Animals can use learning to change a behavior. All right, so learned behavior we'll put down is a behavior that has been learned from experience or from observing other animals. Okay, so it's something you see, you practice, you learn it, and then you can use it yourself. All right, so let's stop here and get some more examples of things you may consider innate, but over time you've learned how to change them. All right, the next objective we're going to look at is describe 5 or 6 kinds of behaviors that help animals to survive. We call these survival behaviors. All right, there's 5 of them. Number 1 is finding food. All animals must find food to live. So we're going to put number 1, and finding food, and we're going to say basically we'll say that all animals need to find food. All right, and of course I'll go over all your vocab after the fact. But there's predators, there's prey. Okay, animals that eat other animals are predators. Animals that are the ones being eaten are prey, and that's something you should probably understand already, but it's something we'll kind of use here. One animal will be finding food, one animal will be the food. Second one you write down is marking territory. Okay, you say get to do that. Every animal has to mark territory. Basically, the animals claim territory to save energy. Bears, have you ever heard, bears are very territorial, or gorillas are very territorial. That means that they pick an area, and if any part of that same species comes into that area, it's going to be, there's going to be a big fight. Lions, tigers do it all the time. Now, if you've got birds in an area with monkeys, they don't care. All right, but if the same species comes in, that's a problem. All right, and just so we know, territory definition, it's any area that is occupied by one animal or by a group of animals, and they don't allow members of the same species to enter. All right, so if you need to pause anything, pause it, write it down what you need to write down there. So we've got finding food. All animals have to find food, and you're either predator or prey. And then marking territory. Claim some territory so you can save energy, and you don't allow your same species to enter. Number 3 is defense action. All animals have some sort of defense action. You know what that means. Basically, defend yourself. But they'll protect themselves, resources like food, mates, and offspring. So they all have this behavior to defend themselves. You'll see, people say don't ever go near a mother cub, a mother and her cub, because she's going to be very defensive of that thing. Don't go near their den or anything like that. Same thing with skunks. So that's defense action, when they protect what's theirs. All right. Number 4 is courtship, and you may have heard that word before, you may not have. But basically, it's when animals need to find mates to reproduce. Again, the name of the game in all this life and evolution talk that we'll get into is you have to pass on your genes. And so basically, so what it says here, reproduction is essential for survival of the genes. Animals have special behaviors called courtship. So courtship is basically that special behavior, okay, to attract or find a mate. All right, and that was part of the video that I showed you earlier, with the birds dancing around. And there's many other things. Crocodiles have other things they do. Every animal has a courtship ritual. Let's talk about some of the humans' courtship rituals. Number 5 is parenting. Basically, young animals depend on their parents for survival. That becomes the bottom line. You did, and other things do. There's very few animals that do not depend on it. Let's talk about some that do and some that don't, and how that might work. All right, the last objective we'll talk about is identifying seasonal behaviors. Now we talk about survival. Those are behaviors they have to use and practice to survive. These are behaviors they basically use, or they display during certain seasons. All right, so let's talk about these. There's 3 of these. Number 1, migration. You know what this is. You've heard about it. To avoid cold weather, they travel to warmer places, basically for food, water, and safe nesting grounds. So they avoid cold weather by traveling to warm places to find food, water, and safe nesting grounds. So that's right. You write down for migration. Hibernation is kind of the opposite. This is inactivity and decreased temperature in winter. Basically, you say inactivity, where the body slows down, basically sleeps, all right, during the winter time. All right, and we'll talk about some animals that do that real quick. The last one is called estivation. Notice all these words in an Asian: migration, hibernation, estivation. Estivation is the same thing. It's like an internal slowdown. All right, the body kind of slows real down in the hottest parts of the summer, okay, to help avoid losing all the energy. See if you can give me some examples of things that estivate. Think about some hot places, things that animals that live in these hot places, and they practice estivation. Okay, the last couple things we'll talk about here are your biological clocks. All right, every animal has biological clocks. It's like a clock built inside of you here that lets you know what time certain things are. All right, so the definition here is the internal control, all right, of an animal's natural cycles. All right, and let's talk about some examples in humans. All right, the last thing here is it says animals use clues like the length of the day, the temperature to set their clocks. Like the migration stuff, the estivation stuff. There's nobody that goes up and whispers into a butterfly's ears to migrate, or birds to, hey, time to go. There's nothing that tells a bear when to hibernate. They just know instinctively. It clicks in. That's that biological clock. All right. And so some biological clocks control long cycles. Seasonal cycles are nearly universal for animals. Seems like everybody's got something like that. All right. The last, to add to this, just talking, and we may see it more next week. These things called circadian rhythms. That's your daily cycle. All right. That's how your body knows every day. You notice certain times certain things happen. All right. Let's take a minute and talk about your daily schedule as I write this circadian rhythm out. All right, it's spelled circadian. You could spell it circadian, Circadian, rhythm. It just means your daily cycles. All right, your daily cycles. Things that when you get tired at a certain time every day, when you wake up at a certain time every day, even sometimes without a clock. You get hungry at certain times every day, restroom certain times every day. All that is tied into your daily circadian rhythm. All right.